week 5 of the fantasy baseball season. Here's a few pitchers I looked at off the wire this week. The first pitcher, Jose Quintana of the Milwaukee Brewers. Quintana, a late spring trading add to this Brewer team, and we know they needed starting pitching bad. And so far, he's off to an amazing start. 23 2/3, 4-0 record, 15 Ks, 0.79 ERA, and a 0.96 WHIP for Jose Quintana. So last season with the New York Mets, he was good at stretches, 10-10 record, 170 in the third, 3.75 ERA, and 12 quality starts. So the one thing with Quintana, he's not going to go deep into ball games, but everything else he pretty much could bring to fantasy owners. Strikeouts could be decent, innings for the most part, besides going a lot of quality starts he could give owners. And right now, he's playing well in the first 4 starts of the year with his new team in the Brewers. April 16th versus the Tigers, 5 2/3 got the win, 4 hits, a run, 3 walks, 4 Ks. April 22nd, the Giants, 6 innings, got the win, 6 hits, a run, 2 walks, 3 Ks, a quality start. And April 27th at the Cardinals, one of his former teams, 5 innings, got the win, 5 hits, a run, 3 walks, 6 Ks. So like I said, Quintana, he was out there late in spring training. When the Mets had a couple injuries, I thought they were going to bring him back to the roster when Manaea went down and Frankie Montas in spring training. But the Brewers, they were more aggressive for Quintana. Obviously, they landed him, and they needed starting pitching bad in this rotation. So right now, Quintana pitching great. I don't know how long it's going to last, but last season, towards the end of the year, he was pitching well for the New York Mets. And now this season for the veteran, who's actually in the latter part of his career, he's been better over the last 2 seasons, and he's available in 56% of fantasy leagues. Next pitcher, Mitchell Parker of the Washington Nationals. Mitchell Parker's been lights out besides his last outing versus one of the better hitting teams in the league in the New York Mets. On the season for Parker, 37 1/3, 3-1 record, 20 strikeouts, 2.39 ERA, 1.02 WHIP, and 5 quality starts on the season. So like I said, Parker, he's been lights out all season long besides yesterday's matchup versus the New York Mets, one of the best hitting teams in the league. I threw it a wood. He still got to 5 innings, so he's been going deep into games all season long. And even in a ball game where he's struggling, and obviously Washington came back from 7-1 and won the game. He's pitching well as Mitchell Parker, and I think it's just a quick hiccup versus a good offense. April 16th at the Pirates, 6 innings, got the loss, 4 hits, a run, a walk, 6 Ks, a quality start. April 22nd versus Baltimore, 8 innings, got the win, a hit, no runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks, a quality start. And April 27th, like I said, versus the Mets, he got roughed up, 5 innings, no decision, 7 hits, 6 runs, 5 walks in that one. So the walks did him in that ball game. And that's the thing with some of these younger pitchers. Control is going to be an issue at times. But this national team, we know, in rebuild mode, even though I think this season they're going to be more improved than they've been over the last couple seasons, with guys like James Wood, who's going to be up from the beginning of the year. He's been up. Dylan Cruz, same thing as well, Mitchell Parker. And like I said, even though he looked bad and got roughed up in that game versus the New York Mets, yesterday was Parker. He still went 5 innings, and he kept his team afloat just a bit, where they still had enough time to come back and win the game. So right now, well, he's out there in 50% of fantasy leagues, and maybe some owners, they're going to sour on him after that one bad outing where his ownage might drop a little bit. Parker right now, he still will go out there and add him this week. Next pitcher, his teammate Jake Irvin of the Washington Nationals. Jake Irvin last season, I thought he was pretty solid at times. I know the ERA towards the end of the year went up 4.41, but he pitched 187 2/3 on the season. So he's an innings eater, and so far this year he's been lights out for the most part. 36 2/3, 2-0 record, 31 Ks at 3.19 ERA, 1.01 WHIP, and 3 quality starts. The thing with Irvin, he's a crafty pitcher. He's not going to strike out a lot of batters, but there's some games he goes out there and gets those strikeouts. But like I said, for the most part, he's crafty, and he's had a rubber arm. We saw it last season and already this year amongst the league leaders in innings pitched. So the last few games for Irvin, April 15th at Pittsburgh, 7 innings, got the win, 3 hits, no runs, a walk, 6 Ks, a quality start. April 20th at the Rockies, 6 1/3, got the win, 3 hits, 2 runs, 9 Ks, a quality start. And April 25th versus the Mets, he held his own, 7 1/3. In that one, 5 hits, no decision, unfortunately, where the Mets came back, took the lead, but then the Nats pulled it out in the ninth. 5 hits, a run, a walk, 4 Ks, a quality starts, at 3 outings in a row, quality starts. Like I said, Jake Irvin's got a rubber arm, and coming into the year, he wasn't drafted in many fantasy leagues. So right now, he's still out there in tons of leagues at 73%. He's got good stuff as Irvin. I know his next outing's another tough matchup at Philadelphia. Great offense and a great hitter's park over there in Citizen Bank. But like I said, Irvin, he attacks the zone, and he's used to versing these tough teams in the NL East. We saw it last season where I thought he was decent for them at times until the end of the year. And even this season so far, he's off to a good start as Irvin. Definitely an ad this week. The next pitcher, Clarke Schmidt of the New York Yankees. Clarke Schmidt out there in 51% of fantasy leagues. And a lot of fantasy owners gave up on him pretty quickly. I know he missed the first 2-3 weeks of the year, is Clarke Schmidt, but I know he's only a 5-inning pitcher for the most part. He's not going to get quality starts, even qualify for wins at times, but he's still a pitcher that I think can help fantasy owners and still get his wins, even if he's not going more than 6 innings on the year. 14 2/3, 0-1 record, 15 strikeouts, 4.95 ERA, 1.36 whip, and no quality starts on the season. So like I said, he's out there in 51% of fantasy leagues is Clarke Schmidt. This Yankee team, we know, one of the best teams in the American League, and I still believe he's going to get he'll have opportunities to get wins this season. And still, he's not 100%. Got his legs all under him, Mr. Schmidt. Only 3 outings so far in the year. So April 16th in his debut, 5 2/3 versus the Royals, no decision. 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 2 Ks in that one. April 21st at the Guardians, 4 innings, got the loss. 7 hits, 5 runs, 3 walks, 7 Ks. And April 27th versus the Jays, 5 innings, no decision. A hit, a run, the 4 walks did him in where he got pulled early in that one, and 6 strikeouts. So the walks, they've been an issue for Clarke Schmidt last season. So far this year, only in 3 outings. He's got 9 walks. He's got to cut down a little bit on the walks, is Clarke Schmidt. But he's going to have a good offense backing him over there in New York. He's got good upside, no doubt about it. And his rotation spot won't be obviously in jeopardy where his Yankee rotation's banged up. Gerrit Cole out for the season. And obviously, we see him not close to coming back anytime soon. Next pitcher is teammate Luke Weaver of the New York Yankees. Now, Devin Williams, he got removed from the closer role after they made a deal for him in the offseason with Hester Cortez in that trade and Durbin. So on the season for Luke Weaver, he picked up where he left off last season. 13 innings, 0-0 record, 2 saves, 13 Ks, no ERA, no .58 whip. So Luke Weaver last season, he filled in towards the end of the year, obviously for Clay Holmes, where he struggled and he went into the setup role. And now he's taken over for Devin Williams. I don't know if it's going to be obviously guaranteed for the whole season. He's going to be the closer, Luke Weaver, but anytime someone's a closer, especially on a team like the New York Yankees, where I expect them to be one of the better teams, if not the best team in the American League when it's all said and done this season, where save opportunities are going to be there for Weaver. And it wouldn't be surprising to me if obviously he gets a full opportunity the whole way where he could get 30 to 40 save range. So right now, Weaver out there, only 53% of fantasy leagues. And like I said, anytime you're on a winning team like the Yankees, the closer's got to be owned in a majority of fantasy leagues. Next pitcher, Andrew Heaney of the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's off to a great start in the early going. He's been on the list a few times this season. And right now, only out there in 52% of leagues. So this Pirate team, I believe by the deadline, they'll be out of it. He'll be a good trade candidate to a contender. And that's where his value really could go up if he continues pitching at this level on the season. 31 1/3, 2-1 record, 31 Ks, a 1.72 ERA, 0.77 whip, and 3 quality starts. And Heaney, when he's healthy, he's been an innings eater throughout his career. And a former top prospect going back many seasons ago was Heaney, but he's bounced around the league over the last few seasons. And like I said, if the Pirates are out of it at the deadline, they're going to flip him in a deal and try to get prospects. April 12th at Cincinnati, 6 innings, got the loss, 3 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 6 Ks in that one. April 17th versus the Nats, 7 1/3, got the win. 5 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks, a quality start. And April 23rd at the Angels, 6 innings, got the win. A hit, no runs, 9 Ks, a quality start. So this is the last chance for fantasy owners to go out there and get Heaney off the waiver wire. I know he pitches tomorrow versus the Cubs, one of the better offenses so far in the early going in the league. But like I said, he's a guy going out there. His K rate's been great. He's attacking the zone, and he could be a prime trade candidate for this Pirate team at the trade deadline within the next few months. So right now, while he's pitching good baseball, even though I don't believe it's going to keep up to this level, you still go out there and get a pitcher who's off to a good start like Heaney this week. The next pitcher, Gavin Williams of the Cleveland Guardians. Surprisingly, Gavin Williams still out there in 48% of fantasy leagues. And I think Gavin Williams, he could have a good season. I know so far, mixed bag of results early out of the gate. 26 innings, 2-1 record, 26 Ks, a 4.15 ERA, 1.35 whip, and a quality start. So one of the top prospects a few years ago in the system was Gavin Williams. And right now, like I said, not many people paying attention to him, but I think he could go out there and he can help fantasy owners in a big way. He's Gavin Williams. He's got elite stuff, and right now he just has to put it all together. So the last few outings, April 10th versus the White Sox, 5 innings, got the win. 3 hits, a run, 2 walks, 7 Ks. April 16th at the O's, 6 2/3, got the loss. 4 hits, 5 runs, 4 walks, 4 Ks in that one. 21st versus the Yankees, a nice outing, 6 1/3, got the win. 7 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 8 Ks, a quality start. Tonight, a good outing on paper versus the Twins. Not a good offense at all. And Gavin Williams, like I said, he's got upside to be an ace, or at least the number 2 starter in this league. So like I said, out there in 48% of fantasy leagues, he attacks the zone. He has good stuff. We saw him go up versus a good New York Yankee lineup and mow him down in that ball game in his last outing. I think here tonight he could go out there, Andrew Heaney, have a good ball game, and definitely a pitcher to add off the wire this week. The next pitcher, Merrill Kelly of the Arizona Diamondbacks. So Merrill Kelly last season, I thought he was decent at times for this Diamondback team, and this season he's gone out there for the most part and he's pitched pretty well except one game. It inflated his numbers up there, but he's out there in 61% of leagues on the year. 32 2/3, 3-1 record, 25 Ks, a 4.41 ERA, a 1.10 WHIP, and 3 quality starts. So the walks have been an issue for Merrill Kelly last season. Like I said, injuries did him in a little bit throughout the year. But this year, as long as he stays healthy, I think Kelly could be a good part of this rotation. And you know he's going to get backing with this offense over there in Arizona, even though it's a very tough division in the NL West. April 15th in Miami, 6 innings, got the win. 3 hits, a run, a walk, 9 Ks, a quality start. April 20th at the Cubs, 5 2/3, no decision. 2 hits, a run, a walk, 5 Ks. And April 26th versus the Braves, the team heating up. I thought he pitched pretty well in that one, 6 innings, no decision. 4 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 4 Ks, a quality starts. At 3 out of 4 outings, quality starts for Merrill Kelly. He's got good stuff. He's attacking the zone, getting deeper into ball games as his starts are coming up. And right now, like I said, out there in 61% of fantasy leagues, and health has been the issue for him over the last couple seasons on and off. So if he could stay healthy, I think he could help fantasy owners, and he's definitely a pitcher I look to add this week. The next pitcher, Reese Olson of the Detroit Tigers. Reese Olson, a former top prospect in this Tiger system over the last couple seasons. Last year, he finally got an extended look for the most part, 112 1/3. And so far this season, pretty well, 27 1/3, 3-1 record, 25 Ks, at 3.29 ERA, a 1.24 WHIP, and 2 quality starts. And Olson, he's out there in tons of leagues at 72%. So the last few outings, it's been a mixed bag for him, but still, pitching's tough to find. And in the AL Central, where it's not a good division, you're going to have some easy matchups at times. I think Olson is a good add. April 11th in Minnesota, 4 1/3, no decision. 6 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks, 3 Ks. April 17th versus the Royals, 5 innings, got the win. 4 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks. And April 23rd versus the Padres, a great offense. 7 1/3, got the win. 2 hits, no runs, a walk, 7 Ks, a quality start. So Olson's going out there. He's looked good for the most part. Last season he had good flashes. But to go out there versus the Padres and pitch a jet, I think he's starting to find it is Olson. And it wouldn't be surprising to me if he takes the next step this season. And he's definitely a former top prospect, like I said, who could find it this year and definitely help fantasy owners in a big way and be one of the top starters in that Tiger rotation. Arnold pitcher I looked at is Jameson Taillon of the Chicago Cubs. Taillon, he's been pretty solid for the Chicago Cub team this season. We've seen flashes, obviously, throughout his career with the Pirates, with the New York Yankees, and now with Chicago. He's out there in 73% of fantasy league on the season for Taillon. 33 2/3, 1-1 record, 26 strikeouts, 4.33 ERA, 1.112 WHIP, and 3 quality starts on the season. So like I said, Taillon, he's had some good career years in his major league career. And now for the Chicago Cub team over the last few games, he's gone out there and pitched well for the most part with some tougher matchups. April 14th at the Padres, 5 1/3, no decision, 4 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 4 Ks. April 20th versus the D-backs, 5 innings in that one, no decision, 3 hits, a run, 2 walks, 6 Ks. And April 27th versus the Phillies, a good offense, 7 innings, no decision in that one. And last night's game, 5 hits, a run, 2 Ks, a quality start. So Taillon, he's going out there. He's getting the job done for the Chicago Cub team. His innings, he's going a little deeper as well over the last few games. On the season where Taillon's at least goes 6 innings or more 3 out of the last 5 outings. So Taillon could go deep into games. I know he's not going to give you much of a K rate, but a veteran pitcher that could go out there. He knows what he has to do. And let's face it, that NL Central isn't that great a division. So Taillon, the last few outings versus good hitting teams like the Padres, Arizona, and Philly, has held his own. And he's pitching well for a team like Chicago that's going to get him the run support more nights than not. That's a few pitchers I looked at off the wire for Week 5 of the fantasy baseball season.